I'm Ant Walker for Sherdog.com. I'm here with very generous with his time, Martin Lewandowski, who is one of the owners of KSW. KSW 49 takes place Saturday in the Ergo Arena, and we have the man, Mr. Lewandowski, who is going to bless us with his presence ahead of time and brief us on what we can expect to see Saturday. So, first of all, Martin, thank you for your time. I appreciate you joining us today. So, Martin, what can we expect at KSW 9? We've got a couple of very good fights that are starting things off, that are headlining and co-headlining. So, just break down, what do you expect to see in those two fights?
You mean the main event? Thank you very much for the invitation. First of all, it's my pleasure, and it's the first time, so it's cool. We are going to have 9 great fights. International crowd. Starting from the French, Serbian, Belgian, German, Brazilian, and of course Polish and English, which I said of course because Poland is our home base, and England is kind of our second home, I might say, because we already did 2 shows, and this year we're going to be back to Wembley, London again. So this is our second country we are going to grow, and we are growing. So talking about the main events, that was your question about the main
Yes,
events, or
yes. Mikkel Martella and Scott Askham.
yeah, that's the main dish of the night. So, two guys who already fought each other. That time, Askam won with a really strong and hard kick. And actually, Scott won his second fight the same way. So he, kick and deliver of the opponent go just like, sorry, that's it. So, so KOs nearly in the same way. So they fought each other. So it's a kind of rematch, very exciting. These guys really feel a lot of respect, to each other, but they are very confident that their hand are going to be rise up, after the fight.
All right, so definitely a very good fight there, and for the vacant middleweight title, since the former middleweight champion is now moving up at light heavyweight to challenge for the belt there. So it looks like the super fight craze has hit KSW as well. Is this something that you see happening more so in the future?
You mean like this kind of fight, or
Like the champion versus champion fights.
yeah, I mean, we used to have a couple of these, matchmaking, which gives, the opportunity to fight, the champions. Actually, Mamet, you mentioned, he was fighting with Matella. Matella lost that time, with Mamet, but Mamet is very, very unique fighter. And so we used to have in the past, champion versus champion. I think this is something which also brings a lot of attention to KSW, especially that also Scott has a huge background from the previous fights, from the previous shows and previous promotions, past promotions. So yeah, but it's always, the title fight is always something sexy, I must say.
Well, speaking of sexy matchmaking and title fights, the co-main event, Roberto Soldic versus Christian Kazabowski, is a fight that a lot of people are very hyped for on the international scene. Soldic being one of the more talked about prospects in the world. What can you expect from that fight? Who do you think comes out on top? How do you think it plays out?
Oh, this fight will be, I think, one of the fastest. On Saturday's night, the fastest. I mean, because these guys have a really powerful hand, and they hits are so strong, and their opponents already felt that couple times. So Roberto and Kashubovsky, great boxing skills, and those fights will be a real war. Robert already showed a couple of times that he is really worth having KSW title on his shoulder and on his body. So he used to be kind of a guy who came and he kick off fighting with our former champion, and he destroyed that guy. And that guy was unbeatable for so many years and for so many fights. So it was unbelievable. And this is example of a fighter who knows a lot of about the media and also about the fans. And he very quickly he become very popular in Poland and in England and of course in Germany and Croatia where he's from. But he represent also Germany because now that's his mother, his country where he lives. And Kasubowski, he is unbeatable for the last, I think, 7 or 8 fights, and
He's
also
7-0. All right.
yeah, 7. So and most of his fights, they're really hard KOs. So strong hands, like kind of Tyson style.
All right. So this card, while definitely a very very big card, it isn't it isn't in one of the big stadiums. I know you guys sell out stadiums, you sell out a lot of huge arenas, but you have
Hmm.
so many good notable names on this card below the top two fights between Thiago Silva, Damian Grabowski, Norman Park as well, who's on a 3-fight winning streak. So out of some of these fights that aren't being showcased in the main and co-main spots, which ones are you most excited for? Which ones do you think are a good introduction for the North American fans who are unfamiliar with KSW?
I would go for Sovinsky and Park, I guess. I mean, these guys already shown, they are worth watching. They are putting a lot of, and giving a good show and good fights. Park is the one who fought with our former champion, and he really was underdog, completely like somebody who you wouldn't bet, you wouldn't put a penny on his fight. And he's so strong. He has so strong head that it's unbelievable. The last his fight that he survived, it just he won by decision, but still I think that's kind of a way of know how to find a good way for a different opponent. And I think Park is a master in doing so. So he knows what are the weakest spots of his opponent, and also he's just unbelievable, strong. I would call him like a Braveheart. He just stand, punch, and he never, go back. He's just like a tank, really. So I would think Sovinsky and Park would be the one who might bring a lot of attention. The second pick I would go for Andrzejak and Rick. I think it's heavyweight. It's also something which is always brings a lot of attention to the audience and brings a lot of especially that Andrzejak used to be our champion, and Mika shown many times his good skills outside of KSW. So I believe he brings the best what he got in the veins in the KSW cage.
All right, so definitely highly recommend everyone who's listening to check out KSW 49. So it is available on DAZN, which is a very popular streaming service here in the U.S. Definitely for combat sports. So, what do you feel DAZN's role is in the organization in your efforts to grow your fan base? How useful has that been?
I mean, every partnership with a strong TV or streaming partnership is something crucial. This is something which we are looking for to expand our brand outside of Poland and outside of Europe, because we are, as you know, and many fans around the world, they know KSW. But I think because of the time difference, it's also hard to be, so popular in Europe, like in North America. So DAZN is very popular also in Poland. A lot of people talk about it. It's like they did the first couple steps, and already they've been. Are you there? Okay, no,
Oh, I'm
I
there.
lost
Yeah.
you for a while. Yeah, and yeah, because now I lost the signal or the picture for a
Oh,
while.
it's all right.
And so DAZN is very very strong partner, and we believe thanks to them will we reach more households in North America.
All right, so I want to talk a little bit more about this expansion because we've seen this across every major promotion, really in the world between the UFC, Bellator, One. Everyone is making a very dedicated effort to expand their territory, and besides the occasional trips to the UK, Ireland, KSW has for the most part stayed in Poland. So how aggressively are you guys pursuing this global expansion? What continents are you on? Any upcoming dates in places outside of the normal reach of your organization that you want to talk about with us today?
Yeah, first continent we want to expand is definitely Europe. This is, the closest we understand this mentality. We are based here, so this is where we want to grow, and definitely that's what I mentioned: England, then probably Ireland, Germany. These are the countries I'm looking forward. Also, I'm looking now, kind of making my own documentation around Serbia and the countries, in all Balkan region. So, and especially that there are a lot of fighters from that region we already have under contract. Europe first, definitely, and this is something we need to concentrate for a couple of years. Sometimes, or maybe from time to time, we'll go and do the show in US, but it will be really occasionally. So this is nothing, I'm seeing, especially with UFC and Bellator, who have like 100% of the market nearly there. So huge and strong competitors. So Europe first, and then maybe some other markets, but Europe is something I'm looking forward now.
I do think Bellator in particular, because your ties with DAZN. Is there any effort or any discussions in place to possibly co-promote or share talent or any sort of partnership between yourselves and Bellator in those efforts to either one have a little more leeway into the UFC, excuse me, into the USA, or two to assist more in the expansion in Europe?
I tried, to be honest. I tried with Bellator to do something like, kind of called promotion. We exchange fighters. We were thinking about doing a show under the brand, like, Bellator and KSW show, like they used to do with Bama, I guess. But I think there is always a problem when it comes to money and when it comes to champions or the fighters who are crucial for for the organization. Nobody wants to really share those one who sell the tickets, sell the pay-per-view, or who are the fighters for the organization. So we might, and we do actually. We have a really, with Bellator, we have a really good. I have a really good relation with Scott and Mike Hogan, so we talk really freely. Whenever I'm in the US, I always meet these guys. We've met in Japan, we've met in London, also in England. So, but there is a certain territory when I know that we can't make the deal or the agreement, So, but in yeah, I would like to do more kind of cooperation, not only with Bellator but with other promotion too.
All right. Well, Martin, thank you so much for your time. Definitely appreciate you taking a little time out to speak with us at Sherdog.com. Definitely everyone check out KSW 49. It airs in the U.S. at 10 a.m. West Coast time. I'm in the West Coast, so that's what we're going with, West Coast time on DAZN. Once again, Martin, thank you for your time. Best of luck for a good event on Saturday morning.